Well, hello there. I've been asked a few times about my Hussar uniform, and I thought I'd do a video to talk about aspects of Hussars in general, and this uniform specifically. First up, this uniform, I've been collecting pieces of it since about 2010, I think, or maybe even 2009, when I was inspired by a couple of things that were in auction on eBay. There was an original Hussar Busby and also a Hussar dolman. No, it was a Hussar pelisse, a nice red one with gold braiding. And from then on, I was just hooked on the idea of having a proper Hussar uniform. So I set about going after all the individual pieces of it, starting out with the jackets, which I purchased from a British costume supplier. Well, a British supplier of outfits. They make 19th century recreation and reenactment uniforms and costumes for individuals, for TV, for all sorts of things. And so I ordered a dolman and a pelisse through them. It took forever to arrive. They're called sutlers, by the way. It took forever to arrive, and they made several mistakes on them. So I was a little bit disappointed. Happy to have gotten them originally, but just a bit disappointed they didn't turn out exactly as I wanted. They were pretty basic. So over the years I've been customizing them and adding to them quite a bit. All these individual uniform pieces, they were very, very tricky to collect all the parts. Every single little part, because Hussar uniforms are quite complex. They consist of dolman, which is this kind of jacket here, the pelisse, which is this fur-edged jacket. They're never fur-lined. It could be possible that some of them were, maybe originally, but it just made them too heavy and a bit too hot. They have the barrel sash here, which consists of many, many, many meters of cord, a number of barrels. Sometimes it's only 6. It's always 3 columns of barrels, I should say, over bunches of cord. Sometimes people have this, like I've got 5, 5, 5, 15. Sometimes it's 9, I think that's about the minimum, and the maximum is 18 barrels. So it varies between those numbers. Always, a pretty even amount, of course. Well, 15's not even. 3 rows of 3. Or 3 columns. That's it. Indeed. Okay, breeches. Sometimes, often the older Hussar uniforms, they had tight breeches, and these would be tucked into Hessian boots, which are it's exactly the same as what Superman wears. Superman wears Hessian boots. He only misses out the tassel on the front. That's boots that are very low on, they're sort of halfway up the calf, high on the front, low at the back, so they've got a slope, often a little tassel on the front. And that was the preferred style of boots for Hussars. Later on, things changed. People stopped wearing these tight breeches and moved on to longer trousers. That was a sort of, it was a weird transitional period, because they started out wearing things called overalls, which were trousers that would button over the top of their breeches to keep them free from damage, because breeches would be pretty decorated with nice metal stripes down the sides sewed on, and also decorative knotwork. So they'd have these leather and wool breeches that had lovely buttons all the way down the side, and eventually they became the proper wear, and you wouldn't have any breeches underneath, and they stopped being button-upable, and they were sort of just the way they were. You couldn't unbutton them. Buttons were just decorative. And then they moved on to just straight-legged trousers over the top of boots, and these are pretty much what they became. These are straight-legged mid to late 19th century style trousers, probably mid 19th century style. Yeah, I would say maybe 1840, 1850, yeah, that kind of style. Yeah, you also have to have a neck stock of some description, linen like this one, or maybe leather. That's what they wore. Your cross belt, of course, which is the belt here, your little cartridge case. I've got my little one here with a skull and crossbones because it fits in with this Prussian style of uniform I've got. And the busby. All these things all add up to make a proper Hussar uniform. And I'll talk about their headwear and things like that a bit later. Oh, sword belts as well. Sword belts, and the Hussar sword belts are quite different from a lot of the sword belts around at the time as well. And then a lot of the other styles of sword belts copied the Hussar sword belt. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much all this. I'll talk about the other things a bit later.